the next unit. Let's move to the next unit. We'll be looking at the fourth unit in this conversation. So the fourth unit is confidentiality, which is one of the 5 fundamental principles. So information obtained in professional work should not be disclosed except with consent, and that's the concept of confidentiality. It should not be exposed or disclosed, or where there is a legal or professional right of duty to disclose, there has to be permission to disclose it. So information should not be used for personal advantage or the advantage of another party. Now, why is confidentiality important? Is because auditors need full and open disclosure from clients. If clients cannot be assured of confidentiality, then they may be unwilling to provide all the information needed. So we have practical guidelines around maintaining confidentiality even in social environments, because most breaches are accidental. We also need to maintain confidentiality because it covers prospective clients and employers, not just existing ones. We need to consider for confidentiality within the firm around using separate teams for competing clients, and ensure staff and advisors respect confidentiality. And also the duty continues even after relationships end. Don't disclose confidential information, though prior experience can be used. So think of the doctor-patient confidentiality. Patients tell doctors everything because they trust confidentiality. If a doctor gossips, you see, the patient will never trust them again. So similarly, clients must trust that their secret stay with the auditor. Their secret stays with the auditor. So here is a mnemonic for confidentiality rules. CANT will help us remember. C-A-N-T. So consent speaks to the fact that accountants or auditors should disclose only if they are legally compelled to do that. Also, authority speaks to the legal and professional right to disclose information, while information should not be used for personal advantage. That's confidentiality. And then time continues, the confidentiality continues after the relationship ends. Very important. So we'll recognize exceptions in this next conversation to the duty of confidentiality. Now, there are exceptions to the duty of confidentiality. You see, obligatory disclosure, where the law overrides confidentiality, is important to take note of. So an ICAN member is obliged to disclose to an appropriate authority or to the court if they know or suspect a client has committed treason, drug trafficking, terrorism, or money laundering. Also, if the accountant or the ICAN member is forced by law or by court order, or to state agents like EFCC and ICPC acting with specific authority, then we are obliged as ICAN members to override our confidentiality. Or another situation is voluntary disclosure, where we are permitted but not required. You see, this is to protect the members' interest and the defense against negligence and accusation. And in the public interest, we could disclose, for example, tax non-compliance. And also when authorized by the local statute of a state or a jurisdiction, we can disclose. And to non-governmental bodies like NGOs with the power to force disclosure, then for voluntary disclosure, permission, but we may be required to do that. So think of a priest in a confessional booth. Normally they keep secrets, but if someone confesses to planning a terrorist attack, they must tell authorities. So similarly, auditors keep secrets, but not when those secrets involve treason, terrorism, drug trafficking, or money laundering. And here is the mnemonic to remember for obligatory disclosure. TTDM will remember that you have to disclose when it has to do with matters of treason, terrorism, drug trafficking, and money laundering. And also a mnemonic for voluntary disclosure, PPAN, where you protect members' interest, you do it for the public interest, you are authorized by statute to voluntarily disclose, and also for NGO bodies with powers, you are empowered to voluntarily disclose. This is very, very important. Now, conflict of interest. You see, the test here is that a conflict exists when a reasoned or informed third party would consider it likely to affect the member or the firm's judgment. So, conflicts between members and clients. So, for example, competing directly with a client around receiving commissions for introductions. Now, the safeguard is to disclose to the client and obtaining informed consent. Then we have conflicts between competing clients. The firm acts for two clients in direct competition. You see, the duty of confidentiality means not disclosing information about one to the other. So the safeguard here is to carefully consider whether to accept a new client or you may need to decline the new client. Also, the safeguard is to use two different staff on the two engagements, so you don't conflict two competitors, the same staff working for the same two competitors. Also, another safeguard is for full and frank disclosure to the clients that you're working for them. Another safeguard is to create Chinese wall. Chinese walls mean physical separation of teams and also securing data filing. Then we have another safeguard where you clearly provide guidelines of security and confidentiality. And you also have another guideline on regular review of safeguards. Then you advise clients to seek independent advice. So conflict between those charged with governance and the organization speaks to the fact that accountants could act as non-executive directors for one or more than two organizations at the same time, and they acquire confidential information from one that can advantage or disadvantage the other. So think of a football referee. If a referee also coaches one of the teams, that's a conflict. The solution is either to decline the match or build Chinese walls, like having different referees for different matches. So here is a mnemonic for conflicts to remember. You see the client versus the member, interest, speaking to competing clients, then those charged with governance also help to fuel this conflict. So these conflicts need to be managed by the accountant and the firm very, very pragmatically. So that brings us to the end of confidentiality and how to deal with conflict of interest, and that is the fourth unit. So confidentiality and conflict of interest is very important in the business space, and how the accountant handles it, it's very